What's going on, everybody out there? It's Ron Brown, LMT, the People's Fitness Professional, aka Soul Brother #1, reporting for duty. Peace to everybody out there. Thank you, Brother Eric, Minister Eric Muhammad, for coming out this evening. Alternate Sundays at the God Hour, as we say in the 5% Nation. Thank you for joining us as usual. We got some questions for you. Message to the Black Man Part 3. First off, how are you doing this evening?
Fine, all praises due to Allah for the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So now I want to go into the first question. So understanding the core teachings and message to the Black man. In the message to the Black man, Elijah Muhammad emphasizes self-knowledge. How can Black people today begin applying that in practical terms, work, school, and community life?
Repeat the question one more time.
All right.
It sounds like a really juicy one.
Yeah, yes, sir. All right. In Message to the Black Man, Elijah Muhammad emphasizes self-knowledge. How can Black people today begin applying that in practical terms, work, school, and community life?
Applying self-knowledge.
Right.
Well, I wish that off the top of my head, I could say something really catchy and exciting. But nothing is coming to the top of my head right now, because to me, it's like saying, how should we walk?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't sit here and explain how to walk. You know, I just can't do it. The way to apply the self-knowledge that we have been given by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad from Master Farad Muhammad is what we call the program of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. See, when we talk about the Nation of Islam, we talk about the teaching and the program. See, the teaching would deal with the self-knowledge. It's the program that deals with the practical application of that self-knowledge. And I think we all have something of a good grasp on what the program of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is. But for those who don't, that program is encapsulated in the lesson. You know, it's teaching civilization by the civilized, teaching civilization to the uncivilized with a nation building twist to it.
Okay.
The idea is freedom and liberation. It's separation from white America and the establishment of an independent Black nation of our own. Now, we must first, though, be qualified for nationhood. And as nationhood, we must be qualified to join the other civilized nations of our people. We can't be rejoined to our own kind as a nation in the pitiful and pathetic condition that we're in. Nobody will accept us like we are. And so there has to be a civilizing aspect, and that is much more than just teaching the Black man that he's God, the Black woman who she is, and, you know, teaching the culture of Islam and all of that kind of thing. It has to be more than that. And so I would say that practical application, more than anything else, is qualifying oneself to be a nation. More than anything else, that's the focus. Not to be walking around with a bunch of supreme wisdom and you're still in the same economic and political condition you were in when you were destroy power. Now that you're a build power, then you should be building power. And that's with more than words. That's talking about nationhood. So the program, to make the long story short, of the Nation of Islam is to form out of us a free and independent nation where the culture will be Islam.
Mhm. Now, when you speak of Islam, I mean, this is just for the audience.
Yes, sir.
Now, are you talking about Al Islam, like traditional Islam, or what type of Islam?
We're absolutely not talking about al-Islam or traditional Islam, but we are talking about a new Islam, an Islam that, unlike al or traditional Islam, will be ruled by Black Muslims only. The old world of Islam was ruled by white Muslims. And we had some good days in it, but we've had some really, really bad days in it as well. The new Islam will be ruled by only Black Muslims. Now, there's another difference between so-called traditional Islam and the Islam that we represent. Master Farad Muhammad and God Body should definitely understand this. Master Farad Muhammad did not come here to make us a nation of Muslims. He came here to make us a nation of gods. And that's why God Body refers to itself as the nation of gods. It's not something that somebody came up with in the late 1960s. Master Farad Muhammad made it very plain through the most honorable Elijah Muhammad that we were to be made not a nation of Muslims, but a nation of gods. So when a man tells me he's God, why should I have a problem with that?
Right.
So am I. Now that you have established that you God, and I know that already, you ain't telling me nothing I don't know. And I know I'm God too. Okay, so now what we gonna do? We just gonna build on today's math, or we gonna take it to another level? What we gonna do?
Mhm. Okay. All right. Now as far as the book, right? So the book often speaks on separation. How do you interpret that today? How do you interpret that today in terms of economics, culture and politics?
The book says what now?
So the book often speaks on separation. How do you
Okay.
interpret that today in terms of economics, culture, and politics?
Land is the basis of freedom. No people can exist. You know what be or born is. Be is
Mhm.
to exist, right? No nation can be or exist uh, without land. Land is the basis of freedom. So we must have some of this good earth that we can call our own. And so in the program, it says as to what we want our parents, or we want our people in America whose parents or grandparents were the descendants of slaves to be allowed to establish a separate state or territory of our own, either here or elsewhere. Now, this can't be swampland. This can't be nearly useless land like the land that was allotted to the Indians and given to them in the form of reservations. It wasn't good. We need good, productive land that is minerally rich, land that is fertile. And what I learned uh, when I first joined, it needs to have an outlet to the sea.
Mhm.
Those who think they're pretty up on African events, you know that one of the things that Burkina Faso needs and appears to have solved in the way of a problem is a sea opening, an outlet to the sea. It's landlocked. Burkina Faso is landlocked. And so we don't want this territory or state, we don't want it to be landlocked. We don't care how minerally rich it is. We don't care how fertile it is. We don't want it to be landlocked. We need a way to the sea so that we can bring in things and export things by way of the sea route.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So now, as far as, so would you say that would cover the economics, culture, and politics?
Yes, because without land, you don't have the mineral resources to turn into the finished goods that your own people need in order to exist freely. You don't have a surplus of those manufactured or finished goods to do trade with other nations. So you grow a certain amount of food. You want to become self-sufficient in terms of your food supply. You want to be able to feed yourself.
Right.
Okay, so you need enough land under cultivation to produce enough food to feed your nation. Now, the surplus, you sell that to other people, and that gives you trade revenue. You want mineral resources as well as those agricultural resources. You want some gold.
Mm-hmm.
If that's going to be the base of your currency, you want some gold to back a currency of your own. But you want to have more gold than the gold that you need for your currency so that you can sell that gold
Mm-hmm.
to others, bring in revenue. This goes the same with coltan, what is it? Bauxite? I forget how you pronounce it, but you want with your zinc, your manganese, your tin if you have it, copper if you have it, whatever in the way of mineral resources, you use the amount you need for your own people, and then you sell the rest, whatever surplus you produce, you sell the rest to other nations to bring in trade revenue. So yes, that would cover the economics, because without land, you don't have an economy.
Right, right. So with land comes the economy and culture and also politics behind that.
Exactly.
Right,
Exactly. The politics comes in the form of the government
right.
that you are going to have, and the culture is taken care of in the Islam, the supreme wisdom. I self Lord and Master.
Right.
That's going to be the culture.
Indeed, indeed. All right. So, what are misconceptions outsiders have about the Nation of Islam's teachings in this book?
I think the number one, and I'm going to deal with the uncivilized, the 85%, because we know that the 85% are uncivilized people, poison animal eaters, slaves to mental power. They don't know who the living God is or their
Right.
origin in the world, and worship that they know not what.
Right.
So since that is the target, I would say that with respect to, say the question again.
So the question is, what is the misconceptions?
Right. So I would say that target audience, the number one misconception of that target audience is that we don't believe in God. We don't believe in Jesus, and that we just hate white folks. Damn right we hate white folks. But I'm saying they take it to a whole nother level, that what we are is all about hating white folks. Those are the number one misconceptions. Like, we hate white people because they're white. We don't hate white people because they're white. Although there is nothing to love about a people if they're white. But that's not the reason. We don't hate white people because they're white. We hate white people because they're devils. You're not supposed to not hate the devil. Why would you not hate the devil? What kind of sense does that make? To not hate the devil. But their concept is we just hate white people because they're white and because they've been mean to us. It has nothing to do with it. when you understand that the white man is not a natural man and that he has no business on the planet in the first place, and you take into consideration his history, it's a different. Now, with respect to Jesus, we do believe in Jesus. We just don't believe Jesus is God. We don't believe that God is three. We believe that God is one. You can't divide the number three into the number one. So it's not that we don't believe in Jesus. What we don't believe is that the religion of Jesus was Christianity. We don't believe that the God of Jesus is a spirit that's up in the sky somewhere. And we don't believe that Jesus was a white man. We believe that Jesus was black. We know that God sent him. We do not believe that Jesus is the son, the physical flesh and blood son of a spirit up in a place called heaven that no one has ever been able to prove exists. We know that a heaven exists on earth because those with enough on the cap have made a heaven for themselves on the earth. So we know there's a heaven on earth. Some of us have been fortunate enough to be on the earth and be in heaven while we on the earth. But the white man has made it a hell for the overwhelming majority of us. And so we don't believe that a spirit was flying around in heaven, looked down and saw some fine young hottie named Mary, and then he swooped down and, dropped a baby in her, and then it was his son. And then he flew back where he was and waited for a few years for the enemies to kill him, and then he floated him up to heaven with him. It's just silly. That's what we don't believe. But we do believe that Jesus was given divine revelation, meaning whatever Jesus said, not what the white man says he said, but what he actually said is the truth and nothing but the truth. But we don't believe it's the whole truth, because Jesus said there was many things he could tell us that he couldn't tell us then, because we weren't ready for that then, but that another man was going to come in the future and take us into the whole truth. So we are now living in the time where not just the truth, but the whole truth and nothing but the truth is being delivered to the people by those of us who know who the true and living God is and know their origin in the world.
Right. Now, before we go to the next question, I want to address the elephant in the room, or the elephant in the chat. So, I noticed you're getting a lot of flack today. Like, so today, this is the first day I've seen the comments light up like this in a while, right? So today in particular, you're getting a lot of comments, right? And they're coming mainly from women, right? And they sound like threats. So what is the deal with that? Like, I don't know if you just did a speech earlier in the week, and why are they all women?
Well, what nature are the threats? Like, I would need to know.
Okay. So I'm going to put it up for you. So this brother is in serious violation of the NOI protocol, and he will be stopped by all costs. Okay.
Wait a minute. Put the picture back up.
There you go.
I don't get it. Is lipstick in line with the NOI protocol? Wearing lipstick? Is having your hair uncovered in line with the NOI protocol?
Uh-oh.
Like, I don't get it.
Uh-oh. Hold on.
I mean, like, really? Stop it.
I was wondering. I'm like, okay, that looks different. I've never seen that before. Now, we got this sister right here. China, I'm Rita. Having this brother on your channel will put you at risk. Take this brother off. Serious message.
More lipstick and more uncovered hair.
Yeah, but you know what though, brother? These could be like dummy channels though. But the thing about it is there are women names and women in the photos. So I could imagine, I'm gonna assume that they're women. With a name like Sizzling Steak. Okay, let me see. Let's go to, okay, yeah, that was it. Almond Joy. Where was Almond Joy? Almond Joy is definitely a woman's name. That should be, that should, I hope that's a woman. That's that. Okay, good. So this guy is not real NOI. In fact, we have some brothers looking for him. So I want to just address the comments. I'm thinking it's wig not here. Okay. All right, peace, divine God Allah, peace. Yeah, so I just wanted to address that. You know, it just seemed like women are making all the comments. I don't know if you, what's going on with that.
Is it in line with Nation of Islam protocol that if I need to be dealt with or handled, even like this, that women would be out front? We're the men.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What it sounds like is these are people who are associated or affiliated with a faction of the Nation of Islam that I'm not with. And so they want to use the Nation of Islam. He's not in line with protocol. He's not real NOI. He, you know, all of that sounds like someone who considers what they are affiliated with to be more authentic in terms of Nation of Islam than what I am affiliated with, which I beg to differ.
Now, let me ask you, now, before you go on, I want to ask this question, because this question to me validates your authenticity. How long have you been a part of the Nation of Islam?
42 years.
Come on, that's it. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. So you want to move on, brother?
Well, I do, but I want to make it clear. Okay. I know it's not going to make a difference to those who, you know, are lashing out at me. Mm. You cannot be inauthentic, non-authentic, if what you represent, we can take it. Look at Master Farad Muhammad. Look at the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And what you are representing is what they gave to be represented. Please, if you are following some leader that you claim is the rightful leader of the Nation of Islam, I'm following the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Well, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said follow. Don't hit me with that. Been there, done that. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad's message is to fly to Allah and follow me, meaning him, most honorable Elijah Muhammad. If what I teach, you can read Message to the Black Man and see I'm teaching what the same thing Message to the Black Man says. If what I'm teaching, you can read Our Savior Has Arrived, and I'm saying the same thing Our Savior Has Arrived says. That goes with all the other books. It goes with the radio broadcast. It goes with the public lectures that the messenger gave. If the program that I am pushing, you can go right to the back of your own paper. If your movement publishes one, you can go right to the back of your own paper. And you can find me pushing the exact program that's on the back of your paper. Some of you have a paper that says that Master Farad Muhammad is the Messiah and the Mahdi. But you are teaching the public that somebody else is the Messiah, somebody else is the Mahdi. I'm more in line with what your newspaper says than you are. I mean, so, you know, I mean, I don't want to be hostile and belligerent on somebody's podcast, but you can miss me with all of that. And let me tell you something. Let me make something very clear to you. And I'm going to try to do it in as calm a fashion as I possibly can. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us to make all men and boys join the FOI and train them up fast and make them brave fighters, ready, not ready, not thinking about it, not scared, but ready to give their life at any time for the cause of truth. So if you looking for me, I ain't hard to find. And if Allah let you get me, I'm telling you like Khaled, I don't mind if you get me. I just want to take you with me. So the threats against my life, I'm a FOI. I'm here to die. When you gonna get here and kill me? What you waiting for? Stop playing. I've been trained by some of the same people that train you. You ain't scaring me with that kind of talk. Don't talk about it. Be about it. If you want me, I'm here. What's up?
All right. On that note, let's go to the next question. Okay. Message to the Black Man was written in the 1960s. How do the struggles it addresses compared to the struggles we face in 2025?
Well, I would say that the struggles we face in 2025 are worse in comparison to the struggles that we faced in 1965 when Message to the Black Man was published. It's the same struggle now. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that we have been set back in terms of our addressing of the issues that need to be addressed. I mean, we were further along in 1965 than we are now. There's more confusion now. There's less preparedness now. There's less readiness now. Like we've gone further backwards. Like we're doing things in 2025 that in 1965 we would never imagine doing. We have gone so far in the way of wickedness and evil and debauchery. And we are just so far more off the proper path. Like we were coming up on our square in 1965. We laying down more now in 2025 than ever. And since we are talking about women, we were declining in the amount of blonde hair that we were wearing in 1965. We are increasing in the amount of blonde hair we're wearing in 2025. And that's with 60 years of more self-knowledge. So we're worse off. Nowadays, even brothers are wearing blonde hair now. Even brothers are wearing blonde hair now. You got brothers with African braids, got blonde tips in them. Brothers with African braids with red tips in them. Y'all brothers got to be kidding me. Really?
Yeah. That's true, though. That's true. So you're saying like the consciousness, the Black consciousness, that movement is on a down slope, like the self-knowledge.
The application of the self-knowledge. Because at the end of the day, you got brothers wearing, like I said, African braids, dreadlocks, whatever you want to call them, because they're different things that you call different styles of hair. We're wearing hairstyles that are African, quote, unquote. And yet we put the color of the Europeans' hair into it. But those brothers, as well as those sisters that are doing it, these are not brothers and sisters who have absolutely no knowledge of self. Like they know a little something. It may not be as much as you and me, but they know a little something. Whereas The self-knowledge in the 1960s was causing people who were blinding because they were ignorant, was causing people to stop blinding, stop conking. When I say conking, I mean, like Holly used to say, fry it, dye it, lay it to the side. Stop doing that. I watched it happen in my family. When I was a little boy, I used to be sitting in the kitchen while grandma and mom and sisters had the hot comb on the fire in the stove.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And putting the pork grease in the head and frying the hair, straightening out the hair, and then taking the curlers and putting the curlers in the hair and putting the bobby pins in the curlers, put the bag on the head and sleep that way all night, Saturday night. Because in Sunday, you're getting up, going to church, you're going to get the curlers taken out and style the hair. I watched the women in my family stop doing that and start wearing afros. I watched it happen. And so that's what was going on then. We were coming away from our wigs, wearing our hair natural. We were taking the makeup off of our faces. But now look at us. We have returned to that with a vengeance. Okay, so you're not using the hot comb on your hair anymore because you're putting African braids in, but you're putting blind dye in. You're putting red dye in. You got wigs on your head that's purple, green, orange, all kinds of craziness going on.
Right.
And you know more than a woman knew back then, but you act worse than a woman acted back then with respect to knowing what you know.
That's interesting. Now, real quick, I don't know if Ox Warrior is still on the check-in, but it says peace. What is Minister Eric's thoughts on the latest book by Dr. John Andrew Marrow and Bilal Muhammad on Master Farad Muhammad? And has he come by the older works on Master Farad Muhammad by these scholars?
Now, I don't know if Dr. John Andrew Morrow is the half-cracker mutt that wrote the book Finding Farad Muhammad or not. If he is, and that book is something that Bilal Muhammad, who I have had contact with, we have exchanged messages over the internet. If that's who you're talking about, yes, I know of him. And my thoughts of him are such that, I can't say everything I think about him on a podcast. But if he's the one that wrote that book, Finding Farad Muhammad, and made all of the insane claims that he made about Master Farad Muhammad, I would just say this, and that would cover Bilal Muhammad too. Bilal Muhammad is the genius who thinks that Master Farad Muhammad went to the Library of Congress in 1928 and read an almanac that had the actual facts in it. And that's where he came up with the actual facts of the Nation of Islam. The white man had it already in a world almanac of some kind. And Master Farad Muhammad went there in 1928 and he found this. Whatever. Like I said, when I was debating the Dirty Moor about Master Farad Muhammad, I won't mention the Dirty Moor's name, but some of y'all know who I'm talking about.
I don't know who you're talking about though, but
Taharka Bay.
Oh, okay.
It ain't like I'm scared to mention it. I was just trying to be nice. When I was arguing with the Dirty Moor, not a real Moor, not a true Moor. It's a shame to associate him with Noble Drew Ali. But when I was debating with him in 2019, a white man from New Zealand cannot leave New Zealand, come to America, create a fake religion among black people, go join the Moorish Science Temple of America, fool around with Marcus Garvey, whatever, come up with a bunch of damn lies and take a Malcolm named Little and make him a Shabazz and an X, transform a man's life like that through another man. You don't take an Elijah Poole and make him an Elijah Muhammad with a bunch of garbage that you made up. You don't take a Malcolm Little and make him Malcolm X
That's a
with
good
a
point.
bunch of garbage that you made up. You don't take a Louis Walcott and make him a Louis Farrakhan. I'm talking about Old Testament Farrakhan. You don't make him an Old Testament Farrakhan with a bunch of garbage that you made up. So since the target audience is those who have those misconceptions that I mentioned, when Jesus wanted to answer all of the bad things that were being said about him, and they said, well, you know, what should we tell the people about you? He said, tell the people that the blind are being made to see, the lame are being made to walk, the dead are being raised to life. That answers the question as to who I am. He said, if I do the works of the Father, that answers the whole question. So what I'm saying is this: the answer as to who Master Farad Muhammad is in the effect that Master Farad Muhammad has had. That's the answer to who he is. So don't tell me anything about a fake and a fraud who made up some fake religion and came up with some fake teachings and yet had an effect like the one that he had on the lives that we saw transform
all
to
the way
the
until when I was born.
Exactly. That's the work of a God. That's not the work of a fraud. That's the work of a God. And when I asked this fool, and I gave him, I said, do you believe in the Quran? He said, yes. I said, okay. Allah is he who produces the first creation and then reproduces it. That's what the Quran teaches. Okay. So I said, okay. Then I compared that to the work of Master Farad Muhammad, because producing the first creation means the original condition that you're in. Mm-hmm. We were gods. The white man made us niggas. Master Farad Muhammad came and reversed that process, and we stepped up back into becoming gods again, meaning Allah produced the first creation. We were already what we are by nature. And then Master Farad Muhammad comes along and starts restoring us to our original condition. This has happened with all of the prophets. Whenever humanity falls far enough, Allah steps in with a prophet, and that prophet teaches divine civilization. And then there is a restoration or a resurrection of the people back to a higher level of civilization. So I said, you telling me Master Farad Muhammad could do that? All of what he did amongst us with lies? And this knucklehead said, yes. That's not possible. It's not possible. It's not possible to transform human life the way that the Nation of Islam transforms Black life in white America, and sometimes even outside of America, if what you teach is false. It won't happen.
Check. All right, now let's go to the next one. What are the lasting lessons from this book when it comes to systematic racism and self-determination?
Once again. Ask again.
Okay, what are the lasting lessons from this book when it comes to systematic racism and self-determination?
The lasting lesson, overall lesson, I know it says lessons, but the overall lasting lesson is the one that we miss. That's what allowed us to have so much supreme wisdom and then just ball it up and throw it away and become Sunnis or some other Orthodox. I mean, to be taught that there's no spook God, that man is God, and in particular, the black man, to have that drilled into us for 40 plus years and then turn around and say, Allah is not a man, and then start worshiping Arabs and Turks and Persians in the name of Islam because you didn't learn the lesson, because you took the teaching of self and others, of God and devil, as an emotional and psychological, more so emotional reaction to the mistreatment we have endured by white people. A white man who treats me better than any black man that I have ever known in my life is a no good devil. Because it has nothing to do with the way he treats me. It has everything to do with what the lesson teaches. What tell us the mental and physical power of a real devil? You see, tell us what and how the devil is made. That's the lasting lesson from the book that we didn't get and continue not to get. A devil is a grafted man, which is made weak and wicked. Any grafted lime germ from original is devil. The white man is the devil because of how he is made. It doesn't matter how he behaves. It is how he is made. You can create circumstances that'll make the white man temporarily behave very righteously. You have to impose that on the white man from the outside. But he can't maintain even that. But with the black man, the righteousness comes up from the inside because it's the way we're created. The white man is wicked and evil by nature. You can influence his behavior, but his nature is to do evil. So some white people whose nature is to do evil, do that evil. They excel in doing that evil. Other white people have the exact same nature to do evil, but they behave in a much better manner. They both still the same devil, though. That's the lesson. The white man is the devil. He was made to be destroyed. He was not made to live on this earth forever. He has no business here other than the 6,000 years he was given to do his work here. His time is up. He must go. There must cease to be white people. No more white people. That has to happen. That's what this is. Because we don't care how well he behaves. He is an unnatural man who was not made to live on this earth forever. And when we just come and just recognize and realize that, accept that, then we can move on to doing the work that we have to do.
All right. Next question. How does this book sit alongside other liberation texts like Marcus Garvey writings, Malcolm X speeches, W.E.B. Du Bois' work?
With respect to the writings of Marcus Garvey, it is a fulfillment of the vision that Garvey had. Garvey took us from where we were to a certain point. You know, it's like, what do you call that race where you pass the baton? What do we call that? Relay?
Yeah.
Relay?
Yeah.
Okay, Garvey carried the baton. You cannot say that Garvey did not move us from one place to another. He most certainly did.
Yes,
Same
sir.
thing with Noble Drew Ali. You cannot
Yes,
say that Noble Drew Ali's teaching and work among us didn't move us from one point to another. But now the baton has been passed now. And the man who is to run the final leg of the race, the one who crosses the finish line, is the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So that's where Message to the Black Man stands in relation to the writings of those others that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with respect to Malcolm X, Malcolm X's speeches were his articulation of Elijah Muhammad's teachings until he defected. And then his speeches began to reflect a mixture of militant Black spokespersons together with orthodox Islamic teachings from Prophet Muhammad of 1400 years ago. So you have Malcolm's speeches after he left, totally different than Malcolm X's speeches before he left. Malcolm X's speeches before he defected were nothing but the teachings of the Message to the Black Man. After he left, he taught a militant, radical, Black power type of teaching, I would say.
Like revolutionary socialism.
Yeah, revolutionary teaching, armed struggle.
Yeah.
He was after justice and all of that. And he mixed it with the spirit God teachings of Prophet Muhammad of 1400 years ago. At first, he said, let's keep our religion in our back pocket. We just going to go with the militant Black radical thing. But then he realized that, like he said in his autobiography, everything that I am, Islam made me that. And he said that we got to teach Islam. So then he set up, Muslim Mosque Incorporated, because he realized that no matter what Black teaching you teach, you need to teach Black people Islam, period. So Malcolm's speeches after he defected were those of a confused man who had been teaching one thing for 13 years approximately, and now was trying to find his way as a leader of something other than what he came to fame as.
That's peace. All right, so we went over Marcus Garvey. What about W.E.B. Du Bois?
W.E.B. Du Bois, I don't know what to say about the brother. He definitely was a brilliant man.
Right.
I'll give him that.
Yes,
and
sir.
He definitely made a strong contribution in the way of the knowledge of certain aspects of our history. But W.E.B. Du Bois was a destroy power. He was an 85%er. At the end of the day, he was an 85%er. Mm-hmm. I believe he had sincere motives. I believe he wanted to help. But he struck me as kind of bougie. Right. The talented 10th.
Right.
No, it ain't about no talented 10th.
Hey, chat, if anybody know about W.E.B. Du Bois, was he involved in the Boule? I just want to know. I think I heard something like that. I could be wrong. Let me know. Educate me. Help me. I know a lot, but I don't know everything. I always say that.
Yes, sir. And those of us with supreme wisdom, you start talking that 10% talk. We don't like that.
Right. For real. Now, let's go to economic Independence. Elijah Muhammad wrote heavily about building independent businesses and industry. Where do we see Black economic independence thriving today?
We don't see hardly any of it at all. We don't. And when people look at the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, you know, they talk about independent businesses and institutions. And a lot of times it makes me to believe, I'll stand corrected if I'm wrong, that what the most honorable Elijah Muhammad established among us was the end itself, as opposed to the means to an end.
Mm.
When the most honorable Elijah Muhammad was establishing all of this quote unquote independent economics, it was for the purpose of preparing us to truly be economically independent. If you look at what he wrote in Message to the Black Man, he said of Black economics that it's hard to come up with an economic program for the Black man because the white man controls everything. He literally said that. And so in order for us to truly have economic independence, we need land. We must have our own land.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have a question. Ox Warrior, you're coming off with the good questions this evening. What are Minister Eric's favorite reads besides the works of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad?
African history.
Okay. Just
African history. Like I've been all over Egypt. When I first joined the Nation of Islam, when I first joined the Nation of Islam, the first thing I began to read, like it was going out of style, was anything I could get my hands on about ancient Egypt. Because what drew me to the Nation of Islam was the fact that we built the pyramids and the Sphinx, and we had this high civilization at a time when the white man was in the caves. And so I wanted to read all about that. And I started with Egypt, but then that led me to African history as a whole. And so my favorite reads are any reads that deal with African history.
I think that's a great combination right there. You know, the minister's teachings and African history. That's a good combination. All right, strange. Hold on. Strange as the NOI, as the NOI are not Pan-African and are anti-Black.
He meant black.
Meant Black, I guess. Okay.
Typo.
Yep.
Now, my response to that is, it would be better if, when it comes to me, and when I say me, I'm just using myself as an example. But what I mean ultimately is the Nation of Islam. Don't tell me about me. You don't get to tell me about me. I don't care what you think. I don't care how you feel. I don't care what you read. I don't care who you follow. Forget what you heard. You want to know about me, and I'm just an individual, but I really mean more so than me, the Nation of Islam. You don't get to tell, you ask. I am a militant Black nationalist. I am a radical Black separatist, and I am a revolutionary Pan-Africanist. That's what I am. If the Islam that I practice was not militant and Black nationalist, if it was not radical and Black separatist, if it was not revolutionary and Pan-Africanist, those who offered me a Quran could take it and shove it where the sun don't shine. I'm not in Islam for no Holy Quran. I'm not in Islam for no tabbouleh and no baba ganoush and no lamb shank. I'm in Islam for the militant black nationalism, for the radical black separatism, and for the revolutionary pan-Africanism that I see in Islam. That's what attracted me. And that's what has kept me with Islam. I don't need what you are into to be those things that I said I am.
Check. All right. What the last question? What obstacles are preventing us from building the do for self model he spoke about?
A hard head, a stiff neck, and a rebellious spirit. That's what's keeping us from doing so. One of the things that is such a simple lesson that the Holy Quran teaches, that we miss it because it's so simple. The Holy Quran divides the entire population of the human beings that are on this earth into three categories: believers, disbelievers, and hypocrites. And it teaches us that the believers will be successful, but the disbelievers and the hypocrites will find themselves in a fire, and therein they will abide. They will not be successful. And so when it comes to believers, believers are those who accept the supreme wisdom of the supreme being as it has been revealed to whatever representative is current as the representative at that particular time. Meaning 2,000 years ago, if you accepted the supreme wisdom of the supreme being through the current representative, Jesus, you are a believer. You'll be successful. You come running up talking about, nah, Jesus, I'm with Moses. Well, Moses ain't the current representative right now. So you fall in the ranks of disbeliever. Those who will accept Jesus and then turn around and say, I'm not with that no more. That was good for that day and time, but we need to update and evolve and do something else right. Now you're a hypocrite because you once believed. Now you disbelieve. And so you and the disbeliever will not be successful because you're not a believer. Now, fast forward to Muhammad of 1400 years ago, same process. You don't get to say no to Muhammad because of Jesus. Fast forward to now. You don't get to say no to Elijah because of Ibn Abdullah 1400 years ago. The current supreme being is Farad Muhammad. The current representative of the supreme being is Elijah Muhammad. You don't get to tell Elijah no because of Moses, because of Jesus, or because of Muhammad, or anybody else for that matter. You don't get to tell Elijah Muhammad no. Master Farad Muhammad chose one man to represent him. And the messenger did not have any authority from Master Farad Muhammad to choose any man to represent him after his departure. And he said it outright. I'm not making this up. When they asked him, have you chosen a successor? He said, I can't, because I didn't even choose myself. And based on the fact that I'm bringing you face to face with God, there isn't even anything left for a successor to do. Elsewhere, he said, nobody is coming after me except God himself. So that's it. We don't get to tell Elijah Muhammad no. But we want to tell Elijah Muhammad no because of our hard heads, our stiff necks, and our rebellious spirit. That places us either those of us who never were Nation of Islam in the category of disbeliever, those of us who were Nation of Islam and switched to something else, that puts you in the category of hypocrite. And what the Quran says, and please listen, when I say what the Quran says, keep in mind the knowledge degree of the 1 to 40. Who made the Holy Quran or Bible? How long ago? Will you tell us why does Islam renew in history every 25,000 years? In the answer to that question, it tells you that we, the black man, made the Holy Quran, and that we made it according to the circumference of our planet, because we are all wise. We're not some wise. We're not most wise. We're all wise, meaning our wisdom is all comprehensive. And we do everything, not most things, everything right and exact. And because of that, we make history to equal our home circumference, which is approximately 25,000 miles 1 year to every mile.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, if you understand that degree in the 1 to 40, you don't argue against the Quran. You don't act like the Quran is just a book with some words in it, and what it says doesn't have to be. Are you kidding me? We do everything right and exact. The Quran is right and exact. The Quran says, believers, y'all good. Disbelievers and hypocrites, deuces. Pardon me. So that's what's holding everything back. Disbelief and hypocrisy is what's holding everything back.
Indeed. Now, on that note, we are at an hour. I know someone in the chat said, you got to go 2 hours, brother. we gotta talk about that. Being the brother Eric Muhammad, we gotta build about that and then move forward from there. But I'm glad you're enthused to hear more from the brother. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Oh, Sound of Music 33. You said you answered I see none of my questions are answered. I don't know what questions you asked, but come back. Okay. We out of time. Come back next time with brother Eric Muhammad, and then I'll make sure you get your questions.
Can I say this right quick?
Yes, sir.
I don't want to pretend like I'm the messenger or something, because I'm not.
Okay.
But I do a live broadcast every week on Sunday, and eventually I upload it either that night or the next day. So if you have a question that you want me specifically to answer, I'm not going to tell you write to Muhammad's Temple number 15 and give you the address. I'm going to say, just put your question up underneath the video. You don't even have to watch the lecture. Just click on it, silence it, pause it, and just write your comment under the lecture and make it a question that you want me to answer, and I'll find a way to answer it.
Right. And then you have his email up there right here, NOYtemple15@AOL.com. Again, NOYtemple15@AOL.com. On that note, thank you guys for coming out this evening, watching the show. Really appreciate you. We are on Rumble. Oh, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. You know, I am not a person that like to beg, but I know this is the business of doing this podcasting. I have to tell you guys that all the time, so I'm gonna be annoying about it nowadays. So like, comment, share, subscribe. Also, I figured out how to work the Rumble app, so we are on Rumble as well. So if you're on Rumble, we are on there as well. Peace to you, brother Eric Muhammad. I really appreciate you.
Likewise.
And we are out of here. Peace.